what a difference 2 weeks makes. The Rowett factor is full swing. What's changed? We're getting these guys to give us their views on it. Plus, players in, players out, discussing all the rumours around current players and players coming in. New stadium as well. There's been discussions and some concerns about that. We'll get these guys' view on that. Plus, we're also previewing, if we've got time for it, of course, the FA Cup game against Exeter. Plus, we'll get these guys to give us their January window transfers. Loads to go through. Welcome back, Connor, Sam, and Robin. This, of course, is the quickest and fastest paced Oxford United review on the internet. Do follow Connor on Talk of the 72, as we've already mentioned, if you haven't done so already. Wow, fellas. Connor, when I saw you 2 weeks ago, it was looking a bit bleak. You were desperate about Des. Are you a happier man now?
I am, yeah. I did say at the time, it doesn't mean that it doesn't hurt, but it's. I think that might have to give the board their flowers at this point, that they've made the correct decision, which I think after the dust had settled, and I did say that sensible-headed fans would admit that Rowett was an upgrade, and my word, what an upgrade he's proved to be thus far.
Absolutely. I mean, we will talk about the Millwall game first, if we can, Sam. Just tactically from that game, what have you noticed that's different about the way you've set up?
I think you have to talk about each game kind of individually. The thing with the Millwall game is obviously he knows them so well, spent 4 very successful years at the Den. So they were very, very wary of kind of knowing how Gary Rowett sets up going away from home. But I think it's interesting the way we set up slightly differently. I thought we looked a little bit better defensively when Elliot Moore wasn't in the back line. We had Peter Chioso, who was, causing all kinds of housery on the right-hand side. And we just looked so defensively assured. Yes, we sit a little bit deeper. Brannigan and Volk, they sit as that double six, but that means that there's less pressure on Volk to play the ball. And it's just, we look so much better. And then the counter-attack, having the electric pace of Shami Poheta, along with Mark Harrison, Ruben, being all over the place, it just worked a world of difference.
Stunning. Let's talk about the Plymouth game as well, Robin, because a clean sheet at home. We need to mention mention that. But what's impressed you, or should I say, who's impressed you the most, Robin?
Wayne Rooney. No, it was a world of difference. I think the effort that was put in by the players is drastic difference to what it was for the previous 15 games, and it sort of plays into hand that you think actually maybe Des did lose some of the dressing room. We look a lot harder to beat. Players just, I don't know, some of them have been reborn in like Plaheta and Volks. Volks definitely has got a new lifeline, I believe, under Rowett. I think just players stepping up, a lot more effort, and obviously the tactical changes that Rowett's made to make us more defensively sound and also better on the break and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I watched the Millwall game, Connor, and we spoke before about perhaps some of the football was not going to be quite tough to watch and so on, but actually it was really exciting end-to-end stuff. And like Robin said there, on the break, you could score at will. That's not the Oxford side. I've been dipping in and out and watching for the previous 4 months.
Yeah, that's very true. And it's up front, someone that also that's seemed to have a bit of sprung to life has been Harris. All right, he hasn't got he got a goal, I think, against, was it Cardiff?
Cardiff,
yes, against Cardiff. But still, his work rate has increased as well across that front line, and I thought he had an absolutely brilliant game against Millwall, having the centre halves ragged and random ragged. Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he's just made, because he's only had about 3 or 4 days really on the training pitch, and he's just made little tweaks that you can see, and it's made a hell of a difference. And now that he's going to have a full week, it'll be interesting to see what he does. I know we'll maybe talk about the Exeter game later, but more about what he does in the next league game against Plymouth.
Yeah, absolutely. And other than that Preston equaliser, Sam, that would have been 12 out of 12. That's like Robin's prediction of 14th. It's coming to fruition, isn't it? I mean, it was important, though, wasn't it? Joking aside, because you were getting sucked back into that. So yeah, that is a nice, healthy Christmas return, and it gives you hope, doesn't it, going forward now that these home games you're back to a winnable side.
Yeah, definitely. That's something that's kind of come across very early in Rowett's tenure is, and I will give credit to Gary Rowett, is he acknowledged in his first interview with the club that this football club's identity is attacking, forward-thinking, progressive football. And, you know, we talked when he was appointed that maybe that's something we weren't going to see. It seems the way he's going to set up is will be more defensively structured, harder to beat away from home so we can grab the points. And then when we come back to Grenoble Road, it's a case of, okay, this is our patch. This is where we play our football. You're right. You know, those points so vital. We're now 5 points above the drop zone, in 17th for the time being, obviously, with Luton and QPR to play. But yeah, it's super important to get those points. And, you know, you just see the confidence around the squad. I think part of it has to do with the fact that as much as you think theoretically this would work, I think Des was very much, you know, he wanted to be the player's mate. You know, you could see the camaraderie between him and the players in the early part of his tenure. But when things get really tough, that kind of erodes quite quickly. So maybe you do need a more senior figure to come in and, you know, be the manager instead of, you know, the friend of the players who is also the head coach.
Absolutely. We'll talk about the FA Cup in a second, Robin. But just a word on Harris. You mentioned it there with his celebration against Cardiff. The Cardiff fans weren't happy about that, by the way. They didn't see there's any need for it. But hey ho, that's what happens. Ox fans, it's right to say, have not been happy with him at all through large parts of the season, and some was always jumping on the bandwagon and saying, well, it's coming up to January, isn't it? So of course he's starting to play well again. Are Ox fans too harsh on him?
I think so. Sometimes I've been quite harsh on him myself, but to be honest, in the end of Des's tenure, his Sparky's work rate just went right downhill. He was a passenger whenever he did play, and obviously Scarlett started to get the nod, which of course was right because Scarlett was scoring the goals at the time. But when he's coming in under Rowett, he's a new man, and I like the side of Sparky when he winds up the opposition fans, and you know it wasn't personal towards Cardiff because at the end of the day, most of the time he scores, he shushes the fans.
Yeah.
Sometimes not even sure where he's shushing. He just likes to shush. But yeah, I do like that side of Sparky. And when he's got that in his locker, it does wind up defenders and fans. And it can play in your favour massively, even if he's not scoring.
Okay. Before we have a chat about new players and players leaving, we're now sort of 4 months into our Oxford project. We would love to get to the target of 100. We are so nearly there, and it would mean the world to us if you could help us now. But if you haven't yet done so already, by pressing that subscribe button, we're at 77, nearly 80. This is going really well, but it's so hard to make new content and get it going. So thank you so much. If you can just hit that subscribe button, that would mean the world to us. Right then, you lot. Who wants to talk about the new signing? And I'm going to have to go back and get his name again. Ollie Romane. Let's get some views on this one. Sam, I'm hoping you've done a bit of homework on this one for me, because who the hell is he?
So I think his story is quite interesting because he started at NEC in the Netherlands, and you know it's at the time where they were in the second tier. Got a loan to Willem II for a couple of months when they were in the Eredivisie. He played 11 games, didn't make a goal contribution, but I think he was still 19 at that point. Then went to FC Emmen, helped them get promoted. Then in the season when they were battling against relegation, which they weren't able to avoid, he got 11 goals and an assist in 33 league games, which for a lad who would have been 21, 22 that season is a pretty decent return. My big concern, though, with this transfer is, and there has been some discourse over, that it's the owner's money, they've got absolute right to do it, is that we've spent €2 million, £1.6 million on a player that, in his time at FC Utrecht, in the 28 games when he was involved, he only started 12 of those matches. He only got 3 goals in that time, and is it a coincidence that in November he declared for the Indonesian national team? Like I say, it's the owner's money to spend, fair enough, but smashing, doubling our record fee paid for a player who is being described by Ed Waldron as a project when, £1.6 million is the biggest fee this football club's ever played. You'd expect him to come and make an instant impact.
And I've noticed that the Utrecht fans on Twitter are surprised they're getting any fee at all, let alone the fee that's been said.
I mean, he signed for them last June on a free transfer. So he's only really played 12 months of football at FC Utrecht, and for them to get 1.6 mil in 18 months is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we were trying to get a FC Utrecht fan on, and we'll try and get on for next week to give us the lowdown. Connor, for you, does this mean Dane Scarlett might be on his way?
No, not for me. No, I think that he had a bit of a rough start, but he's definitely come into his own, and he's shown his worth. He's grown as one of, Luke actually, he posted it back when we played Watford. From that game, you could see that he came a boy, but now he's a man. He's playing in a man's game. And like at the weekend against Preston, when he had to come in for Sparky, and Sparky went off after 10 minutes, I thought that he came in and posed himself very well, and he is reliable now. Because at the start he wasn't really doing it, and we were umming and ahhing, but he's definitely proved us, or proved many of us wrong anyway. And I don't really see it as Scarlett being waved out the door. To be honest, I don't, because now that we've got 3 strikers, depending on how what Sparky's injury is, I don't see any more strikers coming in from this window, if I'm absolutely honest.
Okay. Robin, a player going out. Well, I say a player going out. A squad member going out. Was Goodwin back on? Well, joined Wigan on loan for the remainder of the season. I guess there's no loss there, is there?
No loss to us, but it can only be a benefit to him and to us though, because he does need game time. We spent, was it 300,000 on him? So they obviously saw something there. And he is big and he is physical, but his injury record is atrocious. But hopefully, with some minutes in his legs and some League One football, hopefully we'll get some goals as well to put a bit of confidence into his game. It can't be a bad thing. But I know we spent the money on him, but I'm not sure we'll see him in an Oxford side again, especially if this loan spell goes well. He might be snapped up by another League One side.
Let's not forget, Rom, he's only 22 years old. Like, he's only a couple years older than Gatlin O'Donkor. Like, it was obviously a big transfer fee when he was brought in. He has struggled with injury. And from my point of view, in the couple of games he's featured this season, he's made himself a menace in the area from set pieces because he is so tall. So, like you say, some game time out on loan, hopefully get a couple of goals, get his confidence up. Like you say, can only be a good thing. And I think we will see Will Goodwin back in Oxford squad at some point soon.
Do you not think that if he does have a successful loan spell and scores quite a few goals, if somebody came in from League One with an offer of, say, 300, 400k, would we now not bite their arm off for it? Or do you think we stick to it and he's going to be a project?
I think the club see him as a project. Yeah, definitely. His age is obviously a massive factor in that, but also think about, we've got Dane Scarlett is only on loan and there's no way we'd be able to keep him permanently. Harris is our only striker. Romney is a winger or number 10, so he can play maybe as a false 9 in a certain system that Rowett might feature. But we need those bodies up front. I think it's more likely that Gatlin O'Donkor is sold. As much as I love Gats, he's not shown that he is of the qualities kind of, if we had to stay in the Championship, to be around the squad. I think Goodwin, obviously it entirely depends how this loan at Wigan goes. We might well get offers, but I think the club might think we can get a lot more of him if he has a bit of Championship experience under his belt.
It's all hypothetical anyway. You might do his hammy in the first game.
Yeah.
Seems to have lost you there for a second. Right, cheers, fellas. We will leave the football matters there for a side, and let's talk about the new stadium. Something we haven't mentioned in a while. The planning application will be, we're here now, going to be heard in the new year. Connor, what's your thoughts on this 16,000 seater stadium that's going to be, I believe, in the north of to the north of the city, in the triangle? There's fans commenting saying the relocation of it is not needed, or you're taking the club out of the city. What's your views on it? Is a bit pie in the sky, or?
You don't realise the question that you just asked, Mark, because it's so multi-layered that we could be here for about 2 hours.
Okay, we've got 10 minutes. See if you do it in that time.
Okay, let's see if I can summarise it in about 30 seconds. We need to move because Kassam or Faroka or his daughter, whatever is to be believed at the moment, they're not going to renew the lease. The only place apparently that we can go that is feasible after looking at about 200 locations around Oxfordshire is the Triangle. And I was speaking actually at the playoff final. I bumped into, of all people, Charlie Methven, now chairman of Charlton, who was on the board. And he might have been a bit intoxicated, but he was saying that when we looked, that was the only place that we could find that new stadium could go. So 16,000 seat stadium. So it is pretty imperative that we stay in the Championship so that we can have that in our locker when we go to planning permission at the local council to say that this is the size that we need, because having 9,000 in a 16,000 seat stadium is not good optics whatsoever. Now it's good. We want to move. There'll be better transport links, because everybody who comes to Oxford always complains about how far it is from the train station.
Yeah.
Now, some of the drawbacks. Not in my backyard. Getting trying to do every ploy out of the book to get it not to work. In the first consultation with the council, they even went as far as to say that nuclear waste and nuclear transportations will be going on down the local carriageway, down the A34. There's also been massive pushbacks from the local Green Party, particular member I won't say on this channel, because I don't want defamation, but everybody who's watching will know who it is.
Yeah.
And there has been, I really think that it's split a lot of opinion in Kidlington, the south of Kidlington, where it's meant to be. And I don't think that it's more on the economic side. It's more on the stereotypical football antisocial side and what can happen. And also, more importantly, the traffic system is, because I'm not sure how well we know Oxford, but think of Oxford as like an artery to Oxfordshire. If one road goes into Oxford, then that's it. Oxfordshire is buggered, to say the least. So I believe that we have a meeting with the local council this month or next month on planning permission.
They want to pen it in March, I think.
In March, okay. And just also to mention, I know I've gone over the 30 seconds I say that I would do, but it hasn't helped, especially today and in recent times, that local media, the newspaper that is supposed to uplift this club and supposed to promote that this is the only professional sports team in Oxfordshire, and what is supposed to be the community, what is supposed to be the centerpiece of the community outside of the academics and the rowing. It seems that they've done nothing apart from try to tear it down at every point that they can to get a story.
Can't better that. Sam, Robin, anything to add? That's a very comprehensive review of the situation. Thank you, Connor. Sam, anything to add?
I mean, we're probably not going to play in a new stadium until 2030, and by that point, we might as well just take a bulldozer to the Man Hospital and have that land back. It'd feel more like home than just outside of Killington, to be honest with you. The horrible thing is that, like Connor says, is that like Firoz Kassam, who, let's not forget, before he even bought our football club, had the nickname the Merchant of Misery. Would he have passed the EFL's fit and proper person test nowadays? Probably not. He has said, I think it was last year, that he would be happy for the football club to stay there, and that's because he gets, I think it's a 6-figure rent from the football club. I think it's every quarter for us to play in our own stadium. He controls when the staff can go into the stadium. It's a nightmare. The reality is that, as Connor said, it's something we need a new stadium, but all the delays and, to be honest, the club themselves haven't helped in kind of having, marking out as 2026. That is, because that's the end of the lease. This is when we've got to be out. When, we all know that, if you just look at any construction project in Oxford, it takes far, far longer than than is anticipated. So it was always going to take at least another 18 months to get the planning and stuff sorted. So at this point, I'm annoyingly content to go and sod it. Let's stay at Global Road until probably 2040 when something opens up, because it's just I can't see any end to it.
I'll be honest, Mark. Sorry, I wanted to. I'll set my stall out. Been saying my old man and I have been discussing this for the past 6 months. I don't think it will happen. I don't think it will get the green light.
Yeah.
Right. We'll watch this space, and do follow us and these guys will keep us abreast of. I'm not sure we're going in 2030 on here, but we never know. We'll still be plodding along. FA Cup, though, let's turn to more positive at these, because I think you can beat Exeter this weekend and have a decent cup run. But Robin, there's some fans, I'm sure, that might say, sod it, why bother? Knock us out, we don't care. It's all about staying in the Championship. So, Robin, honestly, how much do you care about this year's FA Cup?
Well, the Championship is the biggest priority. I wouldn't even bother with any of the cups. However, while we are in it, it's a great use to get minutes in the legs of other players.
Okay.
So if we get past this round, then the next, but by especially the injured players coming back as well, getting minutes in their legs. I'd like to see Dembele start. I think that side of it is very important, along with the actual domestic competition, just the minutes in legs. But I don't think I would start all of your best players and risk injuries and stuff like that. I would just focus on the Championship.
Oh, it'd be good though, wouldn't it, to put a full strength squad out, Sam, and knock Exeter out, and then bring a big team back to the Sam. If we have a look at your FA Cup pedigree in recent years, it's you've had some stinking names, haven't you? To be fair, the look of the draw has seen you have Arsenal, Newcastle, Middlesbrough in the previous ones. What do you think is down to that Oxford haven't really kind of prioritized the FA Cup? I mean, I know you've been down in the lower leagues, but there's always been a sense of you're never going to win it, so why bother?
I think that's probably a lot to do with it, is the fact that, like you say, when, especially in the seasons, when, like you say, we've had, Newcastle, Arsenal come to town, we've had bigger priorities. When Arsenal came to town, we were more focused on staying in League One. I mean, it's provided some memorable games. That Middlesbrough game at the Riverside was superb until that winning goal. But it's I would like to see us put out a bit of a strong side. I mean, realistically, our second string side should probably be beating Exeter. And, rare sighting of Marcelino Ferdinand and Ole Romney, we'll get the Indonesian fans going mental.
Connor, do you care less?
Not really, but it would be. But we should be going in there expecting to beat, with all due respect, Exeter City. Beat Exeter, do the business, even if it's 2-0, 3-0, and then get a superb away day, and then concentrate on the Championship.
Right, fair enough. Finally, this week, then, we're talking about transfers, players you'd want to see coming in, rumours, paper talk, pie in the sky, even dream signings. Robin, can you give us one name that you've been thinking about, reading about, or hearing about?
Probably one name that everyone's thinking about, reading about, is Louis Barry, but that's out of the question, I believe. But with the defensive injuries we've got at the moment, I'd probably like someone like Harry Darling.
Okay, Connor.
So we need to go. I think that we need to get a left back. We have Curry, who's out on loan, but if I'm honest, I think that I'd leave him because he's just excelling at Leyton Orient at the moment, and Bennett's coming back, but I'm not sure how much that we can rely on him. But I'll be honest, I can't give you. And I'd keep Kieran Brown at centre half at the moment where he is, because I think that he's been brilliant, along with his partnership with Elliot Moore and Sam Long when he's covering at the moment. But I can't give you a name at left back, so I'll throw in a curveball. So there's a bloke at Peterborough who's currently injured, and he has 6 months left on his deal. And if we play it right, can get a cut price deal. Bring me Kwame Poku, even though he's injured. But
hasn't
next
stopped
season,
before.
yeah.
Okay. Cheers for Connor. That name's come up on several podcasts as well. Sam?
Yeah, I agree with Collins. I'd just have Kwame Poku in a heartbeat. Joe Randall also try and get him at a cut price, given he wants out. I'm glad neither he said Harvey Nibbs, because I'm dreading the fact that we're linked with him. I don't want any Reading players anywhere near our football club. They can do one as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I've looked at two. Like the boys said, we need centre backs. Obviously, with Elliot Moore out injured, Ben Nelson gone back to Leicester. So I've identified two that I think they've had a bit of experience in kind of various levels. I think could bring something. So you've got Ed Turns in Brighton's academy, had 2 loan spells in League One and League Two last season. Did okay. 22 years old, 6'1", I think, left-footed, so could operate a bit like Ben Nelson did as more towards the left side. And then the other one's a bit of a curveball. A lad called Luis João, who is a Brazilian 22-year-old centre-back that West Ham signed on a free transfer. Now, he's only been playing academy football for them, but the last time he played senior men's football, it was for a little-known club called Sao Paulo. He played, I think it was, let me get the numbers here, he played 14 times in the Brasileiro Serie A and 5 times in the Copa Sudamericana, so he clearly knows how to play at a pretty decent level. I'd see if we can bring him on.
If he's not Indonesian, I don't want him.
Gobble off to Nathan Chow, whatever his name was, from Swansea.
Well, I tell you what, that is some serious homework done there, Sam. Brownie points to you. Right, let us know in the comments, all of you watching, if you can beat any of that and what names you would love to bring in. Listen, good chatting with you again. Thank you so much. You three, enjoy the game. Are you going to Exeter? Any of you making that? It was a bit of a horrible journey, that. No? Nah. Good. This is more sense. More sense. But if you're an Oxford fan and you're travelling to Exeter, have a great time. Let us know how you get on. We'll chat about it, of course, next week. And also we'll look at the January fixtures for Oxford next week. Thank you very much, you three. Have a great week. Thanks for joining us.
Bye-bye.